Welcome to Pensar Basketball Live. And is Cowboy Bruce Brown the actual missing piece for the Toronto Raptors that we just can't see? Now, to be fair, Bruce Brown, when he was traded away from the Indiana Pacers to the Toronto Raptors last year, he struggled. A lot of us noticed that his shooting percentages were down, his effectiveness as a playmaker was down, and most notably, his defense was down. But here's something that some of y'all might not know. Bruce Brown has played a considerable amount of point guard in his life, and it seems like the Toronto Raptors have a major hole at the point guard spot. Now, there's a lot of people who disagree with that sentiment, and I'm going to prove that before we get into the Bruce Brown stuff. Bruce Brown had a nice little interview with Lindsey Dunn. I'll give you my thoughts on that. I got to tell you, it's a little bit mixed bag. On the one hand, really happy for Bruce's return. On the other hand, he's a guy in a contract here who is 27, 28 years old. And a lot of this talk that it's been going on since the offseason of it was my knee, I was playing on one leg, a lot of the stuff that he's saying leads you to think, is he thinking about that next contract? He should be thinking about that next contract because in today's NBA, if Bruce Brown does not have a phenomenal 60-game stretch, he will not command a mid-level on his next contract. So while he was paid an egregious sum by the Indiana Pacers as a stopgap solution to get above the salary floor, he has not returned to form as the player that we saw during the Denver Nuggets championship. And the further removed Bruce Brown gets from that Denver Nuggets championship, and the closer he edges to 30, the closer he gets to being in the DeLon Wright, Gary Trent Jr. situation of having to take a minimum contract in the new CBA. Bruce Brown is not an idiot. Bruce Brown knows this. And so Bruce Brown is about to come out and play very, very well for the Toronto Raptors. And the Toronto Raptors, by the way, are 3 games back, 2.5 games back of the Indiana Pacers. They're 3.5 games back of the 6th seed. 3.5 games, clubs, can be closed very quickly. So during this Jigsaw puzzle saying Bruce Van Vliet, I don't think it'll ever get that. I don't think it'll ever get that bad. Vegan Grass saying Bruce got some good media training. Bruce is a smooth talker. He's a smooth talking cowboy. But what else he is a very good NBA rotation player. And the Toronto Raptors do not have a lot of good NBA rotation players. So in order to get you on board with the Bruce Brown could be the point guard for the Raptors talk, I think we first have to talk about the Raptor who's currently playing point guard for the Raptors, which is Davion Mitchell. Breathe, relax, don't worry. They're just words. They're not going to hurt your feelings. Just chill. These are numbers. This is not hate. These are numbers. Look at the numbers. Okay. Davion Mitchell has played a grand total of 466 minutes across 16 games for the Toronto Raptors. He is posting a career worst across the board. This is his worst season. This is worse than his rookie season. The Raptors have an offensive rating of 120 per 100 possessions. It's 105. That means they score 105 points per 100 possessions. They're the worst offensive team in the league with Bruce Brown on the court. They have a defensive rating of 120. That puts them in the bottom 10 defensively with Bruce Brown. Did I say Bruce Brown? Davion Mitchell. Davion Mitchell. So that's a net negative 15 per 100 possessions with Davion Mitchell on the court. You're getting killed. Okay. He's posting a career worst negative 3.9 box plus minus. Okay. This might be because he's over leveraged as a starter. This may be because he's taken a way more increased playmaking load relative to the role player that he is. This is not the role that he had in Sacramento. It's worth noting that his 50.1 true shooting percentage is the worst mark in 3 seasons. The only mark that is worse than that is his rookie season, which he was, I believe, 49% true shooting. This is abysmal, okay? Anything below 54% is really, really bad. Most good players are 57 north. Sometimes guards are closer to 55, but usually they compensate for it because they take a lot of threes. Superstars are usually north of 60%, just to put that into perspective. He has a career worst turnover percentage of 21.4% relative to a career best assist percentage of 27.1. He's not taking on massive usage. He's still sub 15% usage. To have a player who's sub 15% usage with 21% turnover rate is a very turnover player in today's NBA. To give you a comparison of Davion Mitchell compared to another point guard who's a backup point guard, look at his numbers relative to TJ McConnell. So the Raptors are playing arguably 3 of the 4. Okay, you want the numbers? Okay, cool. McConnell scores at twice the rate, pretty much. He averaged more assists, more rebounds, almost 3 times as many steals on 7% better true shooting. TJ McConnell is not the best backup point guard in the league. So to anyone saying, when Emmanuel quickly comes back, could we start Davion and Emmanuel together? We really need his defense. First of all, his defense is highly overrated. In spurts, it looks great. The pressure is great, but you give up a lot. Pressure gives up blow-bys. Sometimes his ball attention gives up off-ball movement. We studied Jacoby's off-ball brilliance last night in the G League game, which the Raptors lost. Well, a lot of that is because his defender was constantly asleep. If I did a Davion defensive video breakdown, you would see the same thing. A lot of times, Davion loses his man off the ball. So it's great when it looks nice and you're honing in on the ball. But I've always mentioned that we as fans very often get very fixated on the ball. We're always watching the ball. We're not watching away from the ball. But when he gets back cut to death, or he gets screened off and switched off and doesn't rotate, doesn't rebound, doesn't do all that stuff, there's a lot of things that Davion is missing right now. Number 1 is a jump shot. Number 2, he has to be a better rebounder. Number 3, he has to be a better decision maker. Number 4, he needs to be a better paint creator, floor general. There's so many things he needs to get better at. Okay. And I'm not saying he can't get better at them. Please don't come at me and say, you're hating on Davion again, Rob. This is low hanging fruit. No, he is a starting point guard right now in the NBA for the Raptors for the most part. And a lot of people in the media are like, you're not starting Davion Mitchell. You're starting Scottie Barnes. Yeah, that's because Ochai Agbagi has vastly outplayed Davion Mitchell, and you can't put him on the bench. That's why. So continuing on, I would argue that Davion has easily been one of the 3 worst point guards in the league. Here's his cross comparison. We love stat head comparisons. Some of them, some people say they're casual, but here, take a look. James saying, is Davion better than Malachi? No, he's not. Okay, TJ McConnell, Peyton Pritchard, Davion Mitchell, Jose Alvarado, Kyle Lowry, an aged Kyle Lowry, an ancient Kyle Lowry. Kyle Lowry's goddamn 55 years old right now, okay? Okay, he's not 55 years old, but he's closer to 40 than he is to 35, okay? And Jose Alvarado, I mean, these are backup point guards in the league, and these are Davion's numbers compared to those backup point guards. And his assist numbers are higher and his rebounds are not higher because his minutes are higher. If I looked at the per 100 stats, he's worse than all these players by a long shot. Okay. His 28% 3-point shooting is bested or is worsted only by the non-shooting TJ McConnell, who shoots a godly, percentage from the field. Right. So TJ is a better player. Jose is a better player. There's a lot of better players than him. There are 6 to 7 point guards in the G League who are better players than him right now. Okay. So this is not me trying to be rude. This is me trying to get you off this idea that Davion Mitchell is a future member of the Toronto Raptors core going forward, and he's going to be a permanent staple if the Raptors ever win a championship, because that's literally a comment I got today. Davion Mitchell, we're going to need his defense when we win a championship. You're not going to be able to play him when you win a championship if you win a championship. All right, let's move on. John Hollinger's point guard ratings by PER. Now, y'all know how much I hate PER, but it's a lazy way to just look at every single player, and more often than not, the best point guards are going to rank pretty high in PER. Take a guess where Davion Mitchell is on this ranking. Okay, so there's a minimum minutes requirements. It's not going to be every point guard in the league. This is every point guard in the league who's a rotation level guard in the league. Okay, at the very top, you have Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. No one's surprised. You have Steph Curry, Kyrie Irving, De'Aaron Fox, going off for 60, 49, etc. Then you got Luka Doncic. Luka is having a terrible year. Okay, in most years, Luka would lead this. Okay, Jalen Brunson, Darius Garland, LaMelo Ball, Damian Lillard, Tyler Hero. Any complaints? There's TJ McConnell right there at number 11, John Morant, Cade Cunningham, Peyton Pritchard, Tyrese Maxey, Derek White, Chris Paul. No complaints. No complaints, right? We got Fred VanVleet sitting there at 22, 21. I'm a top 50 player in the league. And that list is way shorter in my mind. Great. Cool. Okay. Tyrese Halliburton having a season from hell at 22. Here's the rest. Yes. I got good news and I got bad news. The bad news is Davion Mitchell is at 43. The good news is Spencer Dinwiddie's having a worse season. Patty Mills is having a worse season. Gabe Vincent's having a worse season. And Andrew Nembhard, who hasn't played a lot of games so far, is having a worse season so far. Nembhard will pick it up. Nembhard is a really good defender too. I have belief in Nembhard climbing up this list. Cole Anthony, can't believe his season has been this bad. And shout outs to Kyle Lowry, still hanging around in the top 40 point guards list. That's pretty cool. But yes, this is the reality of the situation. Okay. If you're a rotation level guard, you cannot be in the bottom 10 of this list. Okay. Reggie Jackson is a minimum player. Okay. Spencer Dinwiddie at this point is pretty much a minimum player. Gabe Vincent, if it were not for that egregious contract he signed last summer, he would be a minimum player right now. He might be out of the league right now. Okay. I'll tell you this right now. If I was an agent, I would tell my players one thing: do not be in the bottom 7 of this list. If you want to keep your NBA job next year, don't be at the bottom 7 of this list. Okay. So this is just me being honest. Okay, let's move on. Give this video a like if you appreciate the graphic, the Bruce Brown graphic. I love this. Okay. Can I confess something to y'all? I like country music. Oh boy. I can't believe I just admitted that on the air. I like country music. I've never worn a cowboy hat, but I do like country music. So personally, I got nothing against Cowboys. Now, some people don't remember Bruce Brown played point guard in his rookie season, played point guard in his sophomore season, played point guard in his third season with the Brooklyn Nets. And according to Basketball Reference, Bruce Brown was a point guard for the Toronto Raptors last year. Here's a little bit of Bruce Brown in Detroit for y'all who might have missed it. Oh, skying for that dunk. Nice. Here's Bruce Brown navigating the pick and roll. You know what's great about this? He can score. What's also great about this is he's a really underrated passer. There's that beautiful dump off. Here we go. That was a steal on Kyrie Irving. Yeah. The handle god of the NBA. He just picked him clean. And here he goes. And Bruce has got length, right? Bruce has got some serious length. Pause twice. But yeah, he's capable of making simple plays. Certainly. Here he is going up against a bigger defender. Hey, Bruce has got some finishing ability too. This is the stuff that made him a really good player in Denver. Frankly, his secondary playmaking, his cutting, his defensive upside, positional versatility. Much like Davion, he can guard a few players who are a little bit bigger than him. Unlike Davion, he has pretty good off-ball awareness. He's a really good cutter. Occasionally, he can shoot. Maybe he's been working on his jump shot this offseason. We'll see. And we'll hear his interview with Lindsey Dunn after. But needless to say, he had a lot to say to Toronto Raptor fans. This is my proposed rotation until Kelly Olynyk gets back, until Emmanuel quickly gets back. You will notice that there is not a single point guard in the NBA. Doug Smith is about to have a freaking aneurysm. Okay, there's not a single point guard on this list. Wait, what the hell am I doing here? No. Okay, sorry. Let me go back. Oh, no. There we go. Sorry, I forgot to pause. So this is my proposed lineup depth rotation until we get healthy. It's Scottie at the 1, Gradey, RJ, Agbagi flipping between the 3 and the 4, 2, 3, and 4, Jakob at the 5. Does this mean you're a little bit small? Yeah, but you're actually huge. When you look at that lineup, Scottie, Gradey, RJ, Agbagi, Pirtle, the smallest player, ironically, is your power forward there, which is Agbagi. Super long. RJ is not big for a small forward. Grady's not necessarily very strong for a shooting guard, but Scottie's huge for a point guard. Jakob's big for a center. So you, across the board, make up for your size disadvantages, and that helps you rebounding. What I also like about this team, this specific team, is they're going to be fast. Scottie runs. Gradey runs. RJ is a transition demon. Agbagi runs. Jakob is quick, quick-footed for a center, relatively, but he does well in transition, right? He's not necessarily going to be Ulrich Shamshay, jumping down the court. He's not Chet Holmgren. He's not Victor Wembanyama, but, he's fast enough. He's not a plodding center, is what I'll say, right? And he makes quick decisions. Like when he gets the rebound, he passes it very quickly. He's not one of those stupid centers who just grabs it and just surveying the court and bleeds 2 seconds off the clock. Off the bench, Bruce Brown, Jacoby Walter, Jamison Battle, Jonathan Mobo, and Chris Boucher. I love this lineup. Okay, I love this second unit. And of course, occasionally, instead of Walter, you'll have Barnes or RJ Barrett in that spot. That's a very competent lineup. Okay, it's a very competent lineup. You have shot making with Boucher, never met a shot he didn't like. You have proper spacing with Walter, Battle, constantly moving, relocating, cutting. You have defense with Jonathan Mobo, and you have a competent playmaker in Bruce Brown. And guess what? You don't have a single offensive liability other than Jonathan Mobo outside the paint right now. And so, you can live with one. It's difficult to do two, though. And that's the trade-off with Davion. And to a lesser extent, Jamal Shed, is there's a constant size advantage that the defense can always run a switch. You're not going to be able to do that with Bruce Brown. Bruce can guard 1 through 4. And I'm not kidding. That's the greatness of Bruce Brown. That's why he's so valuable. He can actually guard 4 positions competently in the NBA. I have seen him guard 4s really well. And he's strong. He's really strong. He may have, that prison body where he's all arms and no legs, but that upper body, he really uses it well. He's a very strong player. And I think that he brings you a lot of defensive intensity and versatility and switchability. And Walter is obviously long enough to guard 1s and 2s. Jameson Battle has shown himself to be a very competent team defender at this point. If I was Darko Rajakovic, this is 100% going to be my rotation. And Jamal Shed and Davion Mitchell are only coming in if I have foul trouble, or literally if I have a really quick guard that I need to get shut down, or maybe if the opposing star is going off, I'm going to give 3-4 minutes to Davion to just turn the water off. That's how I would use Davion, like a specialist, not as a rotation player. What about when the Raptors get healthy, Rob? Because we're 3.5 games back of, 6th seed. Can we get healthy, and what does this rotation look like to you? Well, first string, Emmanuel Quickley, Gradey Dick, Scottie Barnes, RJ Barrett, and Jakob Poeltl. Second string, Barnes, Brown, Battle, Olynyk, and one of Mobo and Boucher. The Mobo and Boucher part is basically to complement Kelly Olynyk's inability to guard the rim. Battle becomes it'll be between Battle and maybe Jacoby if he beats him out for it. Brown, just to keep the trade value high, potentially. And Scottie, just so he can get his point guard runs, because Lord knows he wants them. All right. So that's... Oh, shit. Did I miss Ochai? Oh, idiot me. Wow. This is the second time I've made one of these stupid lists, and I forgot Ochai. Yo. And I love Ochai. Okay. Ochai goes in place of Battle. My bad. My bad, y'all. My bad. Thank you. You guys are observing. My bad. Ochai goes to the bench as a assistant head coach. Okay. All right. Yeah, Terry's saying over Battle. Yeah, exactly. My bad. The Raptors are so deep, I forgot their 4th best player. My bad. Okay, my bad. 5th best player? All right. So the Raptors are deep. Hey, the Raptors are fucking deep. There's 13 players, 14 players, 15 players, and I can legitimately make a case for all of them playing minutes, okay? Jacoby is not as bad as he's looked so far, and he's going to get better throughout the year, hopefully with some G League reps. Mobo is going to get better. We have seen competent Mobo minutes. We have, okay? We have seen Chris Boucher minutes. Hey, guess what? Good newsflash. Chris Boucher leading the team in box plus minus right now. 2.7, Chris Boucher. Get that contract value up, man. So, I think Bruce Brown can come in and really make this team competent. So, yeah, you know what? You're going to play pressure. You're going to play the type of pressure that Darko is playing right now. He's not an idiot. He's looking around at Golden State, and they're doing similar stuff. But the Golden State Warriors go 12 to 13 deep, and the Raptors occasionally go 9 deep, 10 deep. Okay? So once you get Kelly Olynyk and Bruce Brown back, you don't have to go 9 deep, 10 deep. You can go 11 deep. You can go 12 deep. Okay? Maybe guys 11 and 12, and maybe 13, 11, 12, whatever. Let's not get crazy here. Maybe guys 11 and 12 are only going to get 5 minutes. And maybe those guys are Jacoby Walter and Davion Mitchell, right? Just 5 minutes, 2-minute spurts to end a half or to end a quarter, to bridge a break, right? Maybe Davion and Jacoby check in at the 1-minute mark of the 4th quarter and check out at the 11-minute mark of the 2nd quarter, just so whoever they're replacing can get that extra breath. You know what I mean? And you just tell Davion and Jacoby, yo, you're going to get 2 to 3 minutes between quarters. I want you to go balls out. I want you to dive for everything. I want you to go crazy. This is an advantage a lot of teams don't have. I think the Raptors can play that deep. And with the style that they play, you cannot have Scottie Barnes and RJ Barrett and Gradey Dick being gassed at the end of games. One of the major culprits for why the Raptors have been so bad closing games is because they are gassed. Absolutely. RJ is missing free throws. Some of y'all think it's because he's not clutch. I say it's because he's exhausted. Gradey Dick fading at fourth quarters. We've seen it. During the Minnesota game, Scottie Barnes came in at about, I want to say the 7-minute mark and turned this game around. By the 2-minute mark of the fourth quarter, he was gassed because playing that intense offensively and defensively at the NBA level is really tough because a lot of players take a break on defense. If the Raptors are not going to get to take a break on defense, they're going to have to cut their minutes down. Okay. All right. There's got to be one more graphic, right? Or is this it? Ah, yeah, subscribe. You should subscribe. You should absolutely subscribe. That would be a good idea. It's free. You can subscribe for free. We make these videos for free. You can like them for free. You can subscribe to them for free. Okay, let's get to the Bruce Brown interview with Lindsay Dunn.
What's this been like for you, mentally and physically, going from surgery to now trying to get back to being in game shape?
It's been super tough. Obviously, I was supposed to be back a few weeks ago, but things didn't go as planned. So now just trying to get everything fixed, get back in condition for the season, and still trying to strengthen my quad. So a lot of stuff still to be done until I return.
This summer, Toronto Raptors guard Bruce Brown faced an unexpected setback, undergoing knee surgery during the offseason. The procedure was a success, and Brown has been working tirelessly to get back to full strength.
I don't know if y'all noticed, but like last year, I didn't look really engaged or not a lot of energy there like I was in previous teams. It's just because I was playing on one leg. So I want that to be addressed because I know a lot of fans didn't think I played with a lot of energy and I didn't want to be here. That I've seen on social media, but I do want to be here. I want to play with these guys. I got a great group of guys, great coaches, great organization. But I was literally playing on one leg.
Brown has been rehabbing with the Raptors medical team, making steady progress every day. And while he hasn't suited up for a game yet this season, his cowboy style has made an impact on his team, with Scottie Barnes recently accepting a fan suggestion that he dresses like the NBA Cowboy. We do have to talk about the impact of Cowboy Bruce. What did you think of Scottie's fit?
Bad hat. It was not a good hat. Everything else is pretty fine. I corrected a little thing. The belt has to match the boots and all of that, but the hat was not good. But everything else is pretty good.
On Friday night, the Raptors G League team, the 905, had their home opener with every Raptors player in attendance sitting courtside. It's a big moment. I don't think we've ever seen the full team at a 905 game. Why was it important for you guys to be here?
It's my 11, 12 years now in NBA. I never seen the full NBA roster to show up on the G League game, to show love and support for teammates like that. Really proud of this group, really proud of the chemistry those guys have. It was definitely special.
Okay, that's awesome. So let's talk about it. How good can the Raptors be? And let's address this one question that somebody had. Is there any way the Raptors can beat the Cavs tomorrow? You'll remember the Raptors' worst loss of the season came in their home opener against the Cavs. Scottie Barnes looked totally useless. Emmanuel quickly got injured. It was probably Scottie's worst game. The Raptors got blown out by 30, if I recall correctly. To answer the question, is there any way the Raptors could beat the Cavs? There's always a chance. I wouldn't bet on it, though. Nelson Ribeiro. Mitchell is needed more than you think. Quickly might be out for a really long time. He is very valuable on a team that has a lot of rookies. He provides great defense, too. You can't reason with some people, man. I tell you, I show you the numbers. I can show you the lineup data. The numbers are not lying to you, okay? He's not good. He's just not good. He's not a good basketball player, okay? He's had 3 maybe good games out of 14. If you're a role player, you got to have at least 12, 11, 10. You can't have 3. That game against Sacramento was great. The game that I gave him all the kudos against who was it? Minnesota? He was the team worst, -9 box plus minus that game. Bro. It's frustrating. It's cool, man. Like, look, we can only go as far as the national media will allow us to some extent. Like, as a collective, as a fan base, we can't really It's difficult, right? Like, it's difficult for a small channel like ours to counter the entire media narrative, and the entire media narrative is Davion's awesome. You know, Davion's amazing. Fred VanVleet is a all-star max player. Pascal Siakam's a superstar. It's difficult to counter these narratives, but occasionally they come along. Gary Trent's a great defender. Gary Trent's an all-league defender. Great. Now we have to counter that. Davion Mitchell is a really good point guard in the NBA. He's going to be valuable for the Raptors for 10 years. Great. Now we got to counter that. I'm sorry. Sure, it's an opinion. Fine. My opinion is statistically valid based on, I don't know, man. I don't know what game you're watching. I really don't. I see teams going off of him, and I'm sorry. Bruce Brown is a lot better than Davion Mitchell. Like, it's not close. It's not close. Let me show you who Bruce Brown was prior to, quote unquote, playing on one leg. This is Bruce. Let me remove the banner so you can see his Toronto season. Now, look, in terms of boxes minus, Bruce was worse than Davion is last year. He was terrible. Negative 4.5 is bad. Okay. But it's worth noting in Denver, he was a negative 0.5. For Brooklyn, he was a 0.7. In his 2 years, from 23 to 24, he was really good, man. Like, I gotta tell you, like, you don't have to be a positive boxes minus guy to be good, right? Like, look at the plus 100, the per 100 numbers. In Denver, he was 20 points per 100 possessions, 7 rebounds, nearly 6 assists, nearly 2 steals, nearly 1 block, not a lot of turnovers. Relative to the assists, he had a greater than 2-to-1 assist to turnover ratio, which is great, right? His field goal percentage was 48%. In Brooklyn, it was 55%. He shot as well as he could in his 2021-2022 season with Brooklyn, where he shot 40% from 3. Then with Denver, he shot nearly 36%. Again, if he plays even close to 2021, 2022, 2023 Bruce Brown, you've got a really good player on your team. Like, an incredible one. Thoughts on Franz Wagner? What did Franz do now? Did he do something? Am I supposed to be talking about him for some reason? My thoughts are he's awesome. I've always liked Franz Wagner. There has never been a moment where I would have taken him outside of the top 3, top 4 in the 2021 draft. After I saw him play in the NBA, I was convinced that he was going to be really good. I think he's awesome. I think he's really, really good. And honestly, if I was trading for any player on the Orlando Magic, it would be Franz before Paolo any day. I think he's incredible. He wants Franz on the Raptors. Not happening. Never happening. I don't say never. Maybe when he's 30, but it's not happening now. Terry Fontaine, I think Davion off the bench will produce better analytics. What are we doing here? No, it won't. Like, this is about as bad as it's been ever, okay? And he's been coming off the bench for 3 years. At what point does a 26-year-old who's had 4 years in the NBA kind of burn the bridge and you just realize this is who he is? He hasn't gotten better at anything in 4 years. What am I supposed to be holding on to here? You understand what I'm saying? He started out really bad, and he's still really bad. There's nothing. There's no saving grace here. He's a good team guy. Seems like a really good energy guy. Seems like a great practice guy. Seems like a really good point of attack defender who gives a lot of ball dominant guards some trouble. Cool. Okay, that's it. You can't just be a good rebounder in the NBA and get minutes. You just can't. You got to be able to score. You can't just be a good three-point shooter and play in the NBA. You got to be able to dribble when they run you off the line. The entire league has gotten very talented very quickly, okay? And I got news for you. There are at least 48 jobs in the NBA that are going to be gone next year, okay? Because this 2025 draft is so loaded. It's insane. Actually, I want to show y'all something just as we get out of here, but I want to make this the last thing I show you. Hang on one sec. Pull this off. Pull this off. Sorry for this dead space. I hate doing that, but here we go. So this is last night I was looking into some of the draft picks for the potential draft picks for the Toronto Raptors. Also, just heads up, these are the current standings before tonight in the NBA. As you can see, the Toronto Raptors are not that far behind, right? They're 2.5 games back of Charlotte, Atlanta, Detroit, Chicago for that play-in spot. They are 2 games behind Indiana. And as I mentioned, they are 3 games back of Milwaukee. 3 games. 3 games. That's all you need, man. You need to cover up 3 games. And how do you cover up 3 games? Well, for the mathematically uninclined, I don't know if that's a word, but the uninclined mathematically, people who are not, completely like brushed up on their grade 6 math, every time you win, you get a plus half, right? Plus half a win relative to your competition. Every time they lose, you also get a plus 0.5. But if you beat one of those teams ahead of you, you get a full 1 and they get a full -1. And that's why the matchups against Indiana, who you beat, the matchups against Atlanta, Charlotte, Detroit, Chicago, Milwaukee, Miami will become the most important games of the year for the Toronto Raptors. So let's look at who they have coming up. This is the upcoming schedule. Tomorrow against Cleveland, on a back-to-back against Detroit. Now, if the Cleveland game looks out of reach, I would love for the Raptors to just play Jacoby Walter and, anybody else and just pull the plug. This is not about being a coward. This is not about being cowardly. This is about the war of attrition and knowing that it is a marathon, not a race, because you don't want to be exhausted to hell going into Detroit and then get beat by Detroit, because Detroit is not a terrible team this year. They're a mediocre to subpar team, and mediocre to subpar teams can beat you, especially because you'll be on the road for both those games. Then you have 2 more games on the road, New Orleans and Miami. Miami is the must win. Okay. So if you are going to go 2-2 over the next 4, let it be that you beat Miami and Detroit. Okay. You can lose to New Orleans. I mean, you shouldn't, but that's only a 0.5. You can lose to Cleveland because you're never going to catch Cleveland. Okay. This year, I'll guarantee you're never catching Cleveland. They are so far ahead of us that it would take the most epic meltdown. You need those Miami games, both of them. But Lord help you, if you go 0-2 against Miami, you just keep falling down. You just keep falling down. So I'll give you the upside scenario for the Raptors. This is the best thing for us. I mean, obviously the best thing for us is just go on a complete win streak and beat all these teams. Okay, cool. Okay. The hottest team in the league, Scottie Barnes, all-star, RJ, all-star, just, whatever. It'll happen then. Win every single game on this list, and I think they'll be building statues of this team. But realistically, lose Cleveland, win Detroit, win New Orleans, split the Miami. That's 3-2. Win at home against Indiana. Now you're 4-2. Lose to OKC, 4-3. Lose to Dallas, 4-4. Lose to Detroit, lose to New York. Okay, 4-5. Beat Brooklyn, 5-5. 5-5. So by December 19th, can we hold water and be 5-5? Now you're saying, yo, Rob, like, we're so far behind the 8 ball, right? We need to do much better than 5-5. Actually, you don't, because at 5-5, you will be 9-17. Okay. And because you won the games that you won, specifically games against Detroit, Miami, Indiana, and because you won those, they have to lose those. That's going to really help you climb up those standings. And guess what? After this game, basically this 10-game stretch, you have one of the easiest schedules in the East. You have one of the easiest schedules in the league because you had such a hard schedule to start. You have a ton of home games. Not to mention, look at that homestand. You get Miami, Indiana, OKC, Dallas, New York. You get Brooklyn, Houston. Yo, home for the holidays. That's awesome. Scottie Barnes is a new baby. This is so cool for him to be able to basically spend from American Thanksgiving all the way pretty much till Christmas with his family before going on the road, New York, Memphis. Okay, fine. He'll probably go to New York, come home, spend some time with his family, and then move to go to Memphis. They don't have to play Christmas Day. So you have the 3-day gap, 23rd to 26th. That's great. And then you go on the road again. But you need to build some steam here. That is, to me, a really good scenario for the Raptors. Obviously, you want a great scenario? Sure. Lose Cleveland, beat Detroit, beat New Orleans, sweep Miami, beat Indiana, lose to OKC, beat one of Dallas and New York, beat Brooklyn, beat Houston, lose to New York, beat Memphis, beat Atlanta, lose to Boston, beat Brooklyn. Now you've caught up completely. So there you go. You were 2-12, and now you've made up steam, and you're basically 4 or 5 games under 500, and you got Emmanuel Quickley back now. And to the previous comment, oh, Emmanuel Quickley's going to be gone for so long. He's not going to be gone for so long, man. He'll be back. He'll be probably back, I want to say, probably by the Dallas game, December 7th, December 5th, maybe. He should be back soon. Like, not soon, like not next week, but he'll be back soon enough, man. That guy lives to play basketball. He lives to compete. But this is actually not even what I wanted to show you. I just devoted like 10 minutes to something I didn't want to show you. You know how bad a passer Russell Westbrook is? Here, watch this. This is a 5-second sidebar. I promise this is not going to take too long. I've been on this. Russell Westbrook is not a top 50 passer shit for a really long time. Let me show you something. Bad pass. Almost gets picked off. And here's another bad pass. Throws it nearly to the 5th row. Luckily, Jamal Murray catches it. Just wanted to show that. Okay, this is what I wanted to show you. Here are the numbers 4 games into their college seasons for the 3 guys that everybody's looking at with that number 1 spot. Ace Bailey, Cooper Flagg, Egor Demon. These are the numbers, okay? Ace Bailey. Not bad. Really not bad. These points are per 100 possessions. All the possessions everything here is per 100 possessions. What's really sticking out with Ace is that 3-point shooting. Relative to the other 2, his 3-point shooting, 42.9% is great, but his stocks per 100, really bad, right? The points, 37 points per 100 possessions, very good. The 5.5 box plus minus, very bad. Okay, 5.5 box plus minus is terrible. Okay, especially because you're playing with another really good player in Dylan Harper and not a, I won't say like a bad team with Rutgers. Like they're a good team. Okay, Cooper Flagg, 13.3 box plus minus, great. He's absolutely beastly on the glass. He's the best rebounder in this bunch by a really large margin. Like a really large margin. We're talking 18.8 versus 10.4 versus Egor Demon's 6.5. He's literally 3 times the rebounder Egor Demon is, and they're pretty much the same size. That gives you an idea of why I like Cooper Flagg so much. The stocks per 100 possessions is absolutely insane. Okay, 7.5 stocks per 100 possessions. The 3-point percentage and the effective field goal percentage are what is dragging Cooper down right now, and which is opening the door to the conversations with Ace Bailey as well as Egor Demon. Look at Egor Demon's assists per 100 possessions, though. Dude. 14 assists per 100 possessions, 32 points per 100 possessions, and he has a top box plus minus among these 4 players, 14.2. Now, the thing with mock drafts and stuff like this at this stage is they're going to be a little wild and unpredictable. But I'll tell you right now, as someone who has really started to dig into this draft, there's a lot of talent. One of those really talented players is Khaman Malauch at Duke. Okay. Now, this is a kid who comes pretty much from the same pipeline as Ulrich. Okay. So the Raptors are very familiar with him. The Raptors are also very familiar with VJ Edgecombe's, pipeline in general, because they have 2. You got to really start to pay attention to how teams scout and where they scout, who they like. It's pretty obvious the Raptors like Kansas guys, right? Ochai, Gradey. It's pretty obvious they like Baylor guys as well. Do you know one big reason to like Baylor guys? They're always underrated. Always. Unless they're Davion Mitchell, in which they're overrated. But for the most part, Baylor guys are typically underrated. That system is really hard. It does not make players look very good. And we saw that last year with Jacoby Walter, where he slid down the draft board because he really struggled in that system. This year, VJ Edgecombe is struggling in that system. I would not be surprised if the Raptors do miss the playoffs if VJ Edgecombe falls to 9 or 10 and the Raptors just grab him. That would be crazy. Khaman Malauch, okay? Look at his numbers relative to Derek Lively. Okay, now people are always shocked that Derek Lively, D-Live, who was in the finals last year doing all sorts of beastly things, people were really surprised that he didn't go top 5, top 6 after seeing him really blossom from the second half for the Dallas Mavericks. Look at Khaman's numbers next to Derek Lively. Again, context is important. Duke hasn't played a lot of great teams yet. They've played one or two like competent teams. These numbers are going to change very drastically. But if he can keep up 10.2 box plus minus, that's a really good indicator to me, at least. If he can keep up 28 points per 100 possessions, 21 rebounds per 100 possessions, and 4.4 blocks per 100 possessions, these are beastly numbers. Add in the fact that he can shoot. Now, to give you an idea of how strong this draft is, most people have him ranked outside the top 10 right now. I've talked to a scout the other day who said he might be there at 17 or 18. Okay. If you get this player at 17 or 18, I'll tell you right now, Khaman goes top 5 last year. Easily goes top 5. Oh my God. He might have gone 3, 4. So to give you an idea, all drafts are not built equal. And to people who are like, oh my God, it's got to be Ace Bailey or Cooper Flag. No, it could be a lot of players. Okay. It could be Kasparis. It could be, it could certainly be Khaman. It could be Colin Murray Boyles. There are guys in the 20s that I really like. There are guys in the 20s that I think would be surefire lottery picks last year. To give you an idea of just how crazy this is, let me just look at the mock draft before we get out of here. You know, again, sometimes these lives take on a strange, all over the place thing, but here's the mock draft according to NBA Draft Room, right? And also big shout outs to the dude. Big shout outs to Jared McCain, who is basically playing like an all-star right now. That's not cap. That's not me lying. Jared McCain has legit like doing all-star shit right now, and it's absolutely nuts. And maybe we need to do a film breakdown or something about that guy, because what he's able to do right now as a rookie is really astonishing. That dude looks like a future all-star. So he's looking really good right now. Okay, so here's the draft, right? So far, according to NBA Draft Room. I'll tell you right now, they have already adjusted themselves to Egor Demon. People are comparing him to a twitchy Josh Giddey, a taller Goran Dragic, etc. There's Dylan Harper there. James Harden comparisons. I don't really see James Harden, but sure, you know, some people do. VJ Edgecombe being compared to Dwayne Wade, Jalen Green, Victor Oladipo. He's certainly looking a little bit more Oladipo-y, but with the Raptors system, my God, Nolan Traore, a big point guard out of France, Con Kneppel, who might be one of the best shooting prospects in years, according to this site, and he really has looked really good. And, you know, it just, again, the Raptors have shown an interest in drafting shooters, and he is one of the best ones we've seen. Asa Newell, playing for Georgia right now, he has looked really good, like as a power forward, potentially a center down the line. He is flashing some real stuff that has some people talking about him in the top 5. I haven't seen much of Trey Johnson or Noah right now, but you know, definitely guys, I'll tell you right now, there's not a single player that we have looked at so far. We're at 11 right now with Liam McNeely and Khaman Malauch. We have not looked at a single player so far who wouldn't have gone top 5 last year. Will Riley certainly could have gone top 5 last year, I think. Right. Boogie Fland, haven't seen him. Ben Saraf, I have seen a little bit of him last year. Looks very interesting. Super fit with the Raptors. You know, you got JT Toppin, Kasparis all the way at 19. I think he's going to be a lottery pick this year. He's a big point guard with really, really good floor awareness. And yo, like, I'll tell you right now, Colin Murray Boyles right here. According to them, he's 23rd. I don't agree with that, but sure. Dink Pate. According to them, he's 22nd. Let me tell you where Dink and is it Dinke or Dink? I gotta look that up. I'm gonna watch more film. But let me tell you where those two guys would have gone last year. They would have gone top 6. Both of them would have gone top 6. Dink actually shared one of our Twitter posts last year when the G League program was disbarred or dismembered, and he was trying to get into last year's draft. Probably because he's a smart guy who realizes he would have gone a lot higher last year. there was talk last year of him potentially being the first overall pick. He might not have become the first overall pick, but I guarantee you one thing, he probably goes above Ron Holland last year. So to give you that perspective, you have 20-ish guys in this year's draft that would have gone top 5 last year. No, that's not true. You have at least 17 guys that would have gone top 5 last year. You have at least 9 guys who would have gone top 3 last year. That's how deep this draft is. Okay. So to those people who are a little bit worried about, well, what will happen if the Raptors miss out on a top 3 pick? They'll get a gem at 13, 12, 11. And knowing the Raptors, it's probably going to be a guy who was supposed to go at 6. Okay. Again, let me, damn, I shouldn't have closed it. I'll just share this with you guys. I think the Raptors' young core is very underrated. You have RJ Barrett, who was a 3rd overall pick in 2019, right? He went behind Ja Morant and Zion Williamson. Where would RJ go in a redraft of 2019? I think he would go top 6, top 5. Okay. The only people giving him run for his money, Ja, Zion, Cam Johnson, Nick Claxton, Darius Garland. Like, those are the guys. So he goes max top 5. So you have a top 5 pick from 2019. Congratulations to you. Okay. Where would Immanuel Quickley go in a 2020 redraft? 2020 was a good draft. I would say Immanuel Quickley goes top 7 in a 2020 redraft. Cool. You have a top 7 pick. Does it matter to you that he's picked in the 20s? No. Just like it doesn't matter to Philadelphia fans that Tyrese Maxey was picked in the 20s. It doesn't matter to me that Kyle Lowry was picked in the 20s. It doesn't matter to me that Dirk Nowitzki wasn't a top 5 pick, because Dirk Nowitzki is one of the best players from his draft class. These things don't matter. In the end, where someone is picked is an assumption about how people felt about them on some day. But why does that day define them for the rest of their lives? Case in point, 2021 draft. Scottie was the 4th pick. Would he go 4th in today's redraft? According to some people, he might go 5. He might go 5th. But to me, he would go 1st. So that's the best player in the 2021 draft. Some people might say 2nd. That's cool. We can have that discussion someday. What about Gradey Dick? You picked him at 13th. Would he go 13th today? No. He would go top 7 easily. I think he would go top 7. So you got a top 7 pick. Great. You wanted to tank that year. You didn't tank, right? Traded for Jakob Poeltl, got bounced in the play-in. We were like, oh no, we got the 13th pick. Oh no, we didn't get a top 5 pick. We're so stupid. But you got the 7th best player in the draft so far. Maybe Gradey will become the 5th best player in the draft. What about Jacoby Walter and Ulrich? You picked them at 19th and 57th. They're both really young, and they're both really good. What if Jacoby becomes the 5th best player in his draft class and Ulrich becomes the 3rd best player in the draft class? By the way, unlikely, but totally possible. Let's talk about something that's a little bit more possible. Could Ulrich become the 8th best player in his draft class and Jacoby the 10th? That's a little bit more possible. Cool, you got 2 top 10 picks. That's a different way to look at this. So every year, the Toronto Raptors have their own draft board. And then we see the league's draft board, which is based on what other people do, right? What does it matter that Detroit picked Cade Cunningham number 1 and Jalen Green number 2 if the Raptors would have picked Scottie at number 1? I'm not saying they would have. I'm just saying, does it matter? If you get the guy at number 4 that you would have taken at number 1, for me, you got the 1st overall pick. That's the way I see it. Maybe you see it differently. Maybe for you, it doesn't matter. But where was Ulrich? Where were Jacoby, Jonathan, and Jamal on Toronto's board? They went 19th, 31st, 45th, and 57th. But what if I told you they were all top 30 on the Raptors board? What if I told you Jacoby was 10th, Mobo was 13th, Ulrich was 15th, and Shed was 18th? Something like that. Well, now you got 4 top 20 picks. What if I told you that if the Raptors, I mean, clearly it's funny because the Raptors had the 57th pick and they didn't pick Jamison Battle, who they brought into Summer League, but they picked Ulrich. What if Jamison Battle was a 36th ranked prospect on the Raptors board? What if they really loved him and they said, if Ulrich is off the board, we're going to pick Jamison Battle? Well, congratulations. Now you got Okay. To explore the absolute craziness, what if Jacoby was third on the Raptors board? Mobo was 8th. Ulrich was 10th. Shed was 12th. And Jameson Battle was 14th. Well, if that's the case, then you got 5 lottery picks. I mean, it's obviously not the case, but I'm pointing out the extreme hypothetical because I wanted to point out that it doesn't matter where a guy is drafted. That doesn't matter to me, and it shouldn't matter to anybody. What matters is where you wanted them, how you see them, and what they really are. Okay? James Wiseman, my number 2. He wouldn't go first round if they could do that redraft. He probably goes 30th. Maybe he goes 38th. Maybe he doesn't get drafted. Anthony Bennett wouldn't get drafted in a redraft. Maybe he goes second round. He was the first overall pick. Does it matter that he was first overall pick? Kwame Brown wouldn't be a lottery pick if they redrafted. Darko Milicic wouldn't be a lottery pick if they redrafted. All these things are important. But it just so happens that every June, we have this one day where we get to redefine a prospect forever. Michael Jordan, 3rd overall pick. LeBron, 1st overall pick. Peja Stojakovic, 13th overall pick. Chris Bosh, 4th overall pick. Davion Mitchell, 9th overall pick. Ochai, 14th overall pick. Doesn't matter that Davion Mitchell is like literally has been one of the worst 5 players of his draft class. He will forever be a lottery pick. And it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter that Peja Stojakovic finished 4th in MVP voting one year. He will always be the 16th overall pick in a loaded draft. It doesn't matter that Nikola Jokic was drafted during a fucking Taco Bell commercial and proceeded to win 3 MVPs, the most hilarious. It doesn't matter that Manu Ginobili was one of the best 2 players at his position in his prime, one of the 3-4 best players at his position in his prime. Let me give Kobe, T-Mac, and D-Wade their due, but Manu was right there. He was the 57th pick. Tony Parker, 28th overall pick. How many second over? Gilbert Arenas, 2nd round pick. Max player. Ben Wallace, undrafted. Ron Artest, mid-teens. Kawhi Leonard, 15th. So to all the tankers out there, to all the pro tanks out there, hear me and hear me well. If the Raptors get the 5th guy on their board at 15, they got the 5th overall pick, and they get to pay him like a 15th overall pick. That's a win-win for me. Anyways. Cass saying, Rob, did I miss your birthday? I thought I remembered you saying it was around this time. No, my birthday is in 3 days. 3 days. And I turn a really, I will literally turn to dust. I will be super old. I will then finally be closer to 40 than I am to 35, which is a really weird thing. I'm not 40. Shut up. Okay. So, Pen, will Scottie guard Davion or Evan Mobley? Donovan. God, I'm mixing those 2 up. I don't think Gradey could guard Donovan. Yo, I hear you. Okay. Like there's going to be a trade-off here. I think Ochai has to guard one of those guys. And, you're right. You're absolutely right. Against the Cavs, it's really difficult because they play basically 2 very shifty, twitchy guards. But a lot of teams don't. Most teams don't. The teams that do are the Cavs and basically the Philadelphia 76ers. Most teams are playing a more prototypical 2, right? So Gregory's saying 37 is the new 40. Fuck. I would say 37 is the new 30. No, 37 is the new 29. Okay, we're living longer now. Come on. So having another 2025 first rounder would be nice. Holy shit. Yes, it would be. Phil Wellington, I framed this comment. Yes, it would be. I would do damn near anything to have another second and to have another first round pick in this draft. And if there's a team willing to talk about it, I'd be willing to ship out a lot to get it, because look, I believe in the young players on this team. I really do. Okay. But I do believe there is a talent deficit on the end. Imagine you have the best car repair person, car mechanic who can do anything for you. He can soup up any vehicle for you. Okay. He can do custom jobs. He can do a custom paint job. He can swap out your engine. He can do all sorts of stuff. I hate talking about cars. I don't know jack shit about cars, but hopefully he's making sense. Okay. So imagine you have that dude And he's like, yo, I'm gonna give you a year of my time free. Okay. Do whatever you want with me. I can do anything you need me to do. 1 year, I got you. I got you for free. What are you bringing him? You're bringing him scraps? You're bringing him a Pinto? You bringing him a Honda Civic? Or are you bringing him like a really great vehicle for him to do some good work with? Right? That's the question I have for the Raptors right now and their development staff. As a front office, you have demonstrated an elite ability to get everything out of players like Ochai and Gradey, right? So if you're going to be spending the time and you're going to be spending the resources anyway, why not get some elite prospects in here? What would the Raptors do with a Nolan Traore? What would the Raptors do with a Khaman Malauch, who already has a bit of a jump shot and is great and is huge and can run like a gazelle? What can they do? I think they could probably run miracles. I think they probably turn that player into an all-star. So, if you're going to be able to do it with Jacoby, what about a player that's way bigger and way more talented than Jacoby? If you're going to be able to do it with Ulrich, how about a player who's way further along already than Ulrich at the same age, right? Now, I understand, obviously, that it's going to be a huge miracle if the Raptors turn all of these guys, much less any of these guys, into long-term NBA players. That's going to be a huge advantage for you because they're older. Some of them are older, at least. Jonathan Mobile can give you positive NBA minutes right now. The fact that he's on a rookie contract is a huge deal for you. Jameson Battle, same thing. He's on a 2-way contract. He won't be for very long. I'll guarantee you that. But Jameson Battle's on a 2-way contract right now. Ochai's on a rookie deal. Davion's on a rookie deal, right? You got all these. Scottie's on a rookie deal. You're getting a lot of value. At some point, that value is going to change, and you're going to have to extend these guys, and it's going to change a lot, right? These rosters do tend to get expensive as they get older. And so as you're developing these guys, that's something I think you need to factor in, is that at some point you might need to replace one of these guys, right? You might need to consolidate some of these guys. Maybe before a couple of these guys go on their next extension, like an RJ or Quickly or Ochai, etc., maybe that's when you got to trade them for a younger piece and, maybe a 2-for-1, 2.5-for-1 type of deal where you can get maximum value. I don't know. Harrison Silva, Rob, are you pro tank? No. I'm pro Raptors. I am pro Raptors. Whatever is good for the Raptors is good for me. Okay. In the end, I'm not pro tank. I'm not pro playoffs. I'm not pro anything. I'm basically pro Raptors. That's it. I want this team to get better. I want them to stay together. I want them to continue getting better and develop every single day. I don't want them to make any short-sighted, stupid moves like the Jakob Poeltl trade again. And I want to see these young guys really get some reps and grow. I don't want to be introducing any tank for flag, capture the flag bullshit, because in the end, the playoffs are very much a reachable goal for the Raptors this year. There are talks now about the NBA potentially abandoning conferences as it comes to seedings in the playoffs. This is going to hurt the Raptors a lot. Okay. So you have to also be mindful of that. Like, if that is for sure coming down the line in a couple of years, where they're going to abandon conference seeding and go straight to 1 through 16 seeding, the Raptors are pretty much going to be outside the top 8, like, indefinitely. That's going to be tough. There was talks about it. Yes, there were talks about it today. So this could be introduced within a couple of years, at which point the Raptors will be entering their window of contention, which means, the playoffs just got a hell of a lot harder. And more likely than not, you're going to see 3 Western Conference teams and 1 Eastern Conference team in the Final Four almost every single year. So I can't say I'm against it. I just hate it for the Raptors. Yeah. Anyways, guys, make sure to hit like on this video on the way out. We're just at the 1 hour mark. Like to keep these videos a little bit more condensed, even though got a little bit rambly in the last 30 minutes, but make sure to hit like and subscribe and all that good stuff. And I'll catch you tomorrow after the Cleveland Cavaliers game. If I don't catch you before that, maybe there's another thought. Maybe there's a 2025 draft preview or something we're going to do tomorrow or Monday. But yes, I don't think they'll ever prioritize a position in the draft, military man. All right. Take care. Bye.